Dr. Holly Donahue is founder of Cura Naturel Therapeutic Healing. She's a visionary naturopathic doctor with over 18 years of experience. She's inspired by her personal health struggles. She combines clinical expertise with holistic care to treat the root cause of illness and empower patients to thrive. So this is why I love Holly, and this is why I wanted to have her on. Because here's the thing: in order for us ladies to get to that next level, we are not doing it with burnout. We are not doing it by sacrificing our health, our energy, or any of those things, sacrificing our sleep. Okay, and this woman is the person to go to if you are struggling with any of that, because she's not going to just give a bunch of medications to you. She's going to actually like ask questions and try to figure out like what's really causing this. So what we're going to talk about today is rest to thrive, how sleep, cortisol, and nervous system balance fuels your success.
So
Yeah.
good.
So go ahead and like let's start this off. So, when you work with a lot of very driven, successful people, and what are you really noticing the most with like why are they coming into your office? Like what are the constant complaints that they're experiencing with their health?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking that. Before we jump into that question, I want to ask a question because this is like amazing. And I'm so grateful to be here, Katie, because the truth is, like she said, is if you don't have your health and you're trying to create wealth, you're trying to create families, you're trying to create relationships, like we're all at a standstill. And that's why I got into naturopathic medicine. I just heard Katie say, like, did we all start in corporate? I was a high level corporate individual in the apparel industry. We manufactured clothing. I was seeing a naturopath at the time, and he said to me, we need more naturopaths. And I'm like, I'm really good. I love what I'm doing. And he's like, you are in the second top burnout career there is. The first one is advertising, the second one is apparel with such deadlines, right? And I was like, oh, and so he said, if you continue at that pace and you don't care for yourself in all the treatments that we've done and how you feel right now, you're going to fall backwards. So let's be real. I want you to drop sleep in the chat if you are watching right now and you woke up feeling truly rested this morning. Not just I got through the night, I slept 2 to 3 hours, but you actually are energized for this event like I am. You're clear headed and you're ready to take on the day. Drop sleep in the chat if that is you. If you're not, drop exhausted.
Oh, you're gonna make them spell that long word, just put E.
Okay, put E. Sorry. Sorry. E.
There we go.
Yeah. So if we don't have our sleep, like Katie just like asked me the question, like if I don't sleep, I'm a zombie the next day. And the reality is many of us are running on nervous system exhaustion. And patients will come into the clinic that are high level, that are family oriented, like the whole 9 yards, and they'll just be like, I'm not sleeping, or I'm taking like antidepressants because I'm not sleeping, right? And so this conversation, and I heard Vanessa speak, like take time for yourself. The first thing that you cut out is sleep, rest, time for yourself, and exercise,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
How many is that resonating with?
Mhm.
Like you just give that up because you're like, I can sleep when I'm dead.
Uh-huh.
No, you cannot sleep when you're dead, right? And so being at this high level, we need to take care of our nervous system. And by taking care of our nervous system, when we rest, our brain detoxes. When we get deep REM sleep, we get into the rest mode. And our body actually heals when we sleep. Is everybody on page with that right now? Like you cannot run on fumes. And so I want to talk about some numbers here so that you really like land as Katie and I go ping back and forth. Do you know that over 70 million Americans are struggling with sleep?
Mhm.
And high achievers like all of us in the room often struggle the most. But the real question is, what do you think is really happening inside your body when you're stuck in this exhaustion? And how is it silently sabotaging your success and your health and your relationships? We all talk about working harder. I've been there, just like Katie said, she's been there, pushing through and grinding.
Mhm.
But what if I shared with you that the real sweet secret weapon for peak performance and having that dream and creating that habits, it's not another late night hustle. It's actually deep restorative sleep plus fun and time for yourself. I really want that to land.
Yeah. It's the last thing everyone thinks about,
Mhm. Mm.
especially the fun part. How many of you guys are currently having the best time of your life right now? Like you really prioritize fun, you allow it. It's part of your daily life. It's not something you do for 1 or 2 weeks a year.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
there you go. There's a lot of no's.
So, how many of us hustle with long hours and you keep pushing through with exhaustion? Chronic sleep deprivation will slowly destroy your health, your brain function. I see a big percentage of individuals on this screen are women. It used to be 1 in 4 women are going to be diagnosed with dementia slash Alzheimer's. It's no longer that. It has moved to 1 in 3, and I have seen studies with 1 in 2. How many people does that scare the heck out of? Because it scares me.
That I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That's insane. And you're saying that's sleep related.
Sleep related, how you're taking care of yourself, how you're showing up. And another big one is sugar, which I talk a lot about as well. Because what is sugar? If too much of it in the body is inflammatory, it gets into the gut. The gut and the brain have a huge connection with your nervous system, with your relaxation. You have a vagus nerve, which runs through the entire body, which is that, like that rest and that digest and that connection. Too much sugar can inflame the brain. And we now know, I won't get into the science of it, but I could. We now know all that inflammation in the brain is type 3 diabetes, and
Hmm.
that's Alzheimer's. Europe has been talking about it for years. We have not been talking about it. We have started over the last couple years. And
Wow.
it's on the upheaval, which I do not like to see at all with patients. And I am seeing more cognitive decline. And like Katie asked me, is that related to sleep? Yes, because if we're not resting, our brain can't detox. Like over the last 10 years, I don't think we know a lot about the brain. We think we do neurologically, but I don't think we do. And so if we're not resting and getting into our heart and loving ourselves and being females and receiving and we're pushing and we're burning out like we talked about yesterday, we become parched inside. So how can we give? Right? How can we give if we're not resting?
Mhm.
So it's on the other thing that I want to talk about in relation to that is increased cortisol. How many
Uh-huh.
people know about cortisol and understand it? Put C in the chat. I won't make you spell it out. Katie made me feel bad.
And I'm like, I would butcher that.
It's just like that increased cortisol and chronic sleep loss spikes your cortisol. It keeps your body in that fight or flight. And many people, when you go to bed at night, if you don't have enough protein and enough fats and you're not eating a balanced diet, that waking up in the middle of the night could be related to sugar.
Mhm.
Also, it weakens your metabolism. How many people are trying to lose weight here? Right? That can lead to weight gain, not sleeping. Honestly, when I get patients sleeping, and we're going to talk about my sleep program, and that's what I do with my patients. But when people aren't sleeping and they start to sleep, they're like, I didn't change much. All I did was rest, right? So non-sleeping and this chronic sleep deprivation, faster aging, more disease risk, heart disease, diabetes, and like we were just talking about, neurodegenerative disorders. This is what's on my brain. So
Mhm.
your body and brain can never fully recover. to create the stress that you all no, to create this life that you all want if you live in this stress mode.
Hmm. Yeah. I actually was with a girlfriend about a month ago, and she said that she was taking so many supplements. She was radically changing her diet. She was doing all of this stuff. And then she came to me. She's like, Katie, you know what I realized being here for the last month? I was like, what? She's like, honestly, I just wasn't sleeping enough.
Mm.
I didn't understand how exhausted I am because I'm naturally really high energy. I want to do it all. And when I started actually going to bed earlier, because she likes to wake up at 5 a.m., but she was going to bed. Some of us like to do that, right? But you're going to bed at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, right? So it doesn't work. She's like, she started going to bed at 8:39.
Mhm.
She's like, it's insane how my body is working, how I feel. She's like, I thought I had a nutrition problem. And she's like, I made some tweaks, but I really had a rest problem.
Mhm.
And she is so much happier. Like, she actually lost her sex drive. Her sex drive's back. She's 44 years old. Things like that, that we think it's like outside of us, I guess, right? And it's like, no. So that's, I mean, I just wanted to give that example because I just heard it from my girlfriend.
Yeah, so true. And like let's go back to the sex drive and having that energy. If our body is shooting to cortisol all the time, that cholesterol backbone and vitamin D backbone is the backbone for all of our hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, DHEA, right? We have a natural cortisol curve where we should not say elevated, but it's higher in the morning, it drops off. Then we have a little blip between 2 to 4 p.m. How many people are getting tired around 2 to 4 p.m.? If that's you, put yes, because you're not either feeding your body enough, you're not moving your body enough, you're too stressed out, or you're not sleeping. And those are the four things that I talk about. And if you're in that high cortisol push, you can't get time. I'm constantly looking for white spaces. Katie knows that's one of my goals this year. Like I run three businesses and my goal is to be like, how can I just trust and give more people what they need to do and me step away more so that I can show up for all of you? I'm not saying I'm perfect. I struggle with it as well, but we figure it out.
Yeah. What gets to be a priority, I think. That's why, like that, I hope that's what's landing, guys. Like maybe it's the thing that's thought of last, like Holly said at the very beginning of this conversation. And you're just like, I just will push it off. I'll just push it off. And it's like, no, you're gonna break, you know.
Right.
So I heard someone ask in the chat, and I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Sure, you get this question all the time. Well, what's the right amount of rest and what's the right amount of sleep? And what's that magic juicy number that we all get to strive for? And is there a magic juicy number? Or is it different for everybody?
Yeah, so I love this question. And if when Katie read what we like at the beginning, my bio, right? One of the things that I want to say to each and every one of you on here is there's no magic number for anything.
Yep.
There is no magic supplement. There is no magic protein. There is no magic fat. There's no magic carbohydrate. You get to figure out what works for you. That's why when I work with people, we customize your plan because my genetics is very different than Katie's genetics, but we both have amazing drive. Or anybody that's on here, Jenny, Vanessa, Sherry, anybody that's on here, our bodies and our genetic makeup are different. I can tell you what the average is. It's 8 to 9 hours. However, it's not about the amount. It's
Mhm.
about the deep REM sleep that you get. You should get 2 to 3 hours of deep sleep where you're not waking up throughout the night, where your mind is not racing, and there's all different ways to track that. You can use a Whoop, you can use the Oura Ring. I mean, there's so many ways now. Maybe it makes sense if you're not feeling rested. First, you look at your nutrition, right? Are you eating the right proteins and fats and less carbohydrates? Or I don't know what it is for you, but to answer that question in a very ambiguous way is there's no right answer for anybody. We have studies that say 8 to 9 hours are most important, but if you're going through grief or something's happening in your life and you're processing something, maybe it's 10 hours because the body's exhausted. Or maybe it's 6 hours, because you can run on that because your metabolism can run on that. The key is that you have the energy to do what you want to do and that you're not denying that you're exhausted because most women deny that they're exhausted. And this
Yep.
happens every day at the clinic.
Mhm.
And I can look in the eye because I do iridology and I can say to patients, you know what? Your nervous system is on overdrive. And I know that you are not in a restful state and getting deep sleep. And many of my colleagues are like, how do you make people cry? It's just because I connect with them.
Mm.
I see them. I have a really big heart and I'm very intuitive. And I can just be like, you are not getting what you need. So, what do you really need? And the more honest you are with me, the deeper we can go. Hence why Katie mentioned I get to the root cause of healing.
Hmm. Yeah, so good. So, I mean, a big thing is like it's customized, and I know everyone here wants to just know the answer. But it's like, so what can people do right now to start figuring out what's the right answer for them? Like, what would be a next step for if we're just going to focus on sleep for a second? Because I heard someone say here, like, well, how can I monitor if I'm getting enough REM sleep if I don't have an Apple Watch or I don't have the tool or the thing? And even like you said, one tool that I had never even heard about. Whoop,
Yeah, whoop strap.
what is that?
It's a strap that you wear on your wrist that tells you your heart rate variability. If you Google WHOOP, it tells you your heart rate variability, which is important. It tells you your deep sleep, your deep REM. You wear it on your wrist. I believe Tony Robbins was an investor in it, but it's awesome. And it's really a way to get a good idea of where you're at. But I also personally, and a lot of people won't like this, but I don't think you should wear it all the time because I don't love radiation on your body 24/7.
Yeah, there we go. Boom.
So if you ask me, what could you do right now? One of the things that I do with patients right now is I say to them, and then and we'll talk about this near the end, but I'll say to them, what is your sleep ritual? Like
Mm.
Katie mentioned her friend, what time are you going to bed? What
Mhm.
time are you waking up? And when you wake up, can you get out of bed and you have energy and you're happy for the day?
Mhm.
Right? And the first thing I do when I wake up, your brain is your best to clear to start the day. And I do what I'm grateful for. What am I excited about? And what am I leaning into for the day? That is the best time to do it.
Mhm.
If anybody wants to know that deep work, Joe Dispenza talks about it a lot. So I would think about, are you waking rested? If you're waking up throughout the night, assess what are you eating before you go to bed? Are you eating 2 to 3 hours before you're going to bed? Or are you just trying to go to bed because you're exhausted and you think you're going to sleep throughout the night? I'm going to tell you, you're not. Your cortisol is going to kick off. Your body thinks it's going to be stressed out and it's going to wake you up and you won't be able to go back to sleep. So usually it's one of two things. You need a little bit of a carbohydrate before you go to bed, like, or you need a healthy fat or a protein, but you got to figure that out.
Mhm.
And then assess your energy throughout the day. Do you have enough energy all day long to do what you want to do? Like if you work out, do you have the ability to lift the weights that you want to do?
Yeah.
Stop exercising more and eating less. It is a way to disrupt your metabolism. And I know I grew up like that. If you exercise more, eat more. Exercise less, eat less. But food is the foundation, and I speak of it all the time. It's the foundation of your rest.
Yeah. Talking about food for a second, just pivoting a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I know people have 1,000 questions about this, and guys, if you guys, I saw a lot of people get my cookbook, which I'm excited about, and
Oh, so good.
yeah, it was an order bump that you guys could invest in as well. So what for someone who wants to really like be at peak performance, they want their energy super high. Maybe they're drinking caffeine a few times a day, and it's like they're kind of addicted to it. right? It's like, what are some immediate shifts that people can make from a nutrition standpoint? And I know, again, everything is very customized and unique to you. Okay, so this is, but like, we got to start testing, right? So it's like, what would be the first things that you'd say remove? And then what would be the like the first few things that you'd say start with, this food or like, this supplement or, just for talking about the energy part specifically.
Yeah, I love this question, Katie. So I would never say start with a supplement first. What I would always say is if you're eating processed foods, I would really be cautious of it. I say eat whole foods, nutrients dense foods, what came from in this earth that God put on this earth to eat is my first suggestion to patients. The other thing is if we're talking about sleep and you're waxing and waning, I would eat 30 minutes upon waking, maximum an hour, and I would eat protein. Protein is going to carry you further than any other sugar or cereal or oatmeal or anything like that. But like Katie said, it's customized, but I will tell you, most people don't eat enough protein. I want you to all look at your nails right now. Do you all have half moons on every single nail? If the answer is no, you're not eating enough protein. The next one I would go to is healthy fats. What is that? Chia seeds, flax seeds, omega-3 salmon. Like you have to get omega-3 from the outside world, and you need that for your brain and your energy. Then
Yep.
I would fill in with carbohydrates. But really quickly to go back to protein, and I know I could talk forever. Protein is anywhere from 0.6 to 1 gram per pound of your ideal body weight. So if you're like, we'll just grab a number, 150 pounds is your ideal body weight, you should eat anywhere from 100 to 150 grams of protein a day, divided out throughout the day. So maybe that's 3 meals, maybe that's 4 meals, maybe it's a snack. Like you need that for your body. When we don't give that to our body, then we can spike the cortisol, we can decrease the sleep, and we're not in a grounded state to be able to have the life that Katie is talking about here and all these amazing speakers. You'll lose leverage on yourself, and make sure that you're eating like the protein that you're eating, wild, grass-fed, organic as possible. Like my big vision is to heal chronic disease. And whenever I say that, I want to cry because we have way too much chronic disease in our country.
Mhm. I mean, we are the most unhealthy country on the planet.
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, I live in all these different countries and I see it and I'm like, whoa. I come back, I fly back into the United States. I look around at the airport. I see what restaurant options are available. I see how many people are struggling to even, walk around. I mean, it's a real thing that we cannot ignore. And it's food related a lot of the time, the
So
choices that we're making.
So sad. Yeah, so sad. And I will honestly tell all of you in the room, I'm going to share something. I have a really hard time going to the grocery store because I want to cry. Or even when I travel and I look, people are grabbing Dunkin' Donuts and croissants. I have no judgment here, but I cry because are they eating quality food to get them through the day? You know? And then I see young children in carts. Like I literally have to put my blinders on.
It's triggering. Yeah, because like once you know, you know. So here's the thing. You might not know some of these things. So now that it's in your awareness, it's like, what do you choose to do with it, right? Like bringing this right back to you, everyone who's individual in this room, like what's one little shift that you could make today based off of what you just heard, whether it's something with your sleep as far as the timing that you're going to sleep or shifting something in your nutrition that you already know. It's like, I've been working on this for a long time. I mean, how many people here want to not drink alcohol this month? Put me in the chat. I'm just curious on that one. How
Mhm.
many people here are like, I'm gonna cut alcohol out? But
Mhm.
I'm telling you right now, when I did that, and I barely drink, I barely like one I like a margarita because I'm Miss Mexico, but like one And it has to be with fresh lime juice, and tequila is the cleanest liquor out there. But like I have a whole chapter in my cookbook on this for a very specific reason. Um, like it's crazy how that changes your energy, your sleep, even nervousness, anxiety, all of it. Like I realized that, wow, I saw so many of my friends. I have a family full of alcoholics, actually. And I saw how it not only destroyed everything that they loved, but like they were constantly just in this place where their mind wasn't right. And we don't really understand because it's been so normalized in our culture to do these things. It's normalized to have the coffee. It's normalized to have the treat to reward yourself at the end of the day. It's normal to go out and celebrate with a cocktail. Like, so it's also like when you're rewiring your entire belief systems around what it's like to be successful. Because when you're successful, what do? Champagne pops. You have a cake.
That's right.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's actually deconditioning all of this stuff that we've learned is normal for celebration and success.
Mhm.
And
So,
that's the challenging part because you're up against the whole world doing that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to close, and then I want to talk about my free gift to close. Like, I want you to all think about, like, I did stop drinking. I stopped eating sugar about 20 years ago, and I stopped drinking about 15 years ago. And I just want to share with you, I said to myself, alcohol, acetaldehyde hits the liver. It can't be good for you. So look up acetaldehyde. Like, it's in garages and like, and we're putting it in our body. It's truly toxic. And Katie's right. Every time we have a celebration, I teach my patients, like, go to the spa, or go out for a healthy meal. Like last time Katie and I were together, we're like, let's go out for a really healthy meal after our amazing mastermind, right? Like we found a place that was amazing and had a great meal. Like there's farm to table restaurants, or go for a walk or a hike with your family or play a game. I don't know what it is, but celebrate with laughter. Why do we have to celebrate with sugar, alcohol, and all of that? And then the next day we wake up and we're like, oh, that was great, but now we don't feel great.
No, you don't sleep great and you're groggy. And then it's actually, I consider it self-sabotaging success
Ah, so good.
in a sneaky
So
way.
true.
So
So I want to keep you on time, but I want to talk about, can I talk about my free gift?
please.
Yeah, so I'm so excited because my free gift, like I mentioned earlier, it's the holistic sleep solution. And if you're somebody where your mind won't shut up at night, like we talked about, you wake up exhausted no matter how long you sleep, and stress thoughts are racing you, your body is speaking to you, right? And it's time to listen. I put this restful night blueprint together based on my 20 plus years of working with patients. It's science backed. It's a holistic roadmap so that you can reset your body's natural rhythm, calming your overactive stress hormones like cortisol, like we talked about, and reclaiming your deep healing sleep. And it's going to help you figure out 5 simple proven steps to fall asleep faster and stay asleep. And the secret to stopping waking up at 2 a.m., right? So it's going to help you balance your cortisol. It's going to help you reset your nervous system. And I want to close and say to you all, sleep isn't a luxury. It's the foundation of your success, your health, and your energy. And it's time for you to get it back and wake up to a new you.
Mhm. Yep. So good, guys. If we drop that link in the chat if you want to snag it. Okay. And then what is the gift that you're giving to the VIPs?
Yeah, so the VIPs, I'm giving that whole program, which is actually 6 weeks, that you can actually go through every step that I go through my patient with my patients. So the blueprint is just a piece of it. It's not the whole thing, but the actual sleep program will take you through every single step from like your sleep bedroom, what temperature do you need to be, some nutrition facts in there, and all of the pieces. And that is like one of my top programs, and it's 197 typically online. And so I'm gifting that to all of you in the VIP room. And I can't wait to see you in the VIP room. And if you're not there, Honestly, I always upgrade you guys because be with all of us in the room and ask questions.
Yeah, it's so powerful. That's so amazing, guys. Who wants to work with Holly for 6 weeks on this? Like, if you're any of the people that were like, man, this is my biggest pain point, this is my biggest thorn, this is the thing that keeps getting in the way of me actually being happy in my life, because you don't get sleep, you're probably a grump, probably snapping on people that you love. Let's be real. I certainly have done that. Okay, so let's get that figured out. Okay, and then all of a sudden, life starts to open up. So thank you. Thank you so much, Holly. You're so
Thank
amazing. I
you so
love
much. Thank
you.
you, Katie. So much love, you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here, guys. And let's post in the chat and just, share again, what is your biggest takeaway before I bring the next speaker on? Do this